So it's Thanksgiving week for our college players in the U.S., and we had a couple players come in this week, just kind of take a look at their golf swings and see how they're doing. So this player was working on her ground force before she went down, and just wanted to kind of check in on how it's going. But she had one concern of her club path was getting a little bit into out, and she's having a lot of troubles hitting blocks. So when we first kind of watched the video analysis, we were kind of just looking at her structure at the top, and we're kind of determining, okay, that her lead wrist was getting a little bit into extension, and her club, even though it's like shut on the backswing at the start takeaway, as she gets to the top, it would open back up, and then as she transitions, she got the club stuck behind her with an open face, and it resulted in a lot of blocks to the right. So what we did with her is we, number one, just kind of talked about arm structure and how to get her elbows more in front of her. But then we started talking about ground force. Interestingly enough, we look at her ground force. She unweights very well. But what's interesting is, like, as you watch as she uses her left leg, she kind of just teeters on that left foot where like there's like zero pressure happening or force coming through that left leg. So she just kind of rotating around her body, where she, like, the max vertical is like 114%, which is very interesting. So what we did is I gave her a couple feels. We talked about, one, we wanted to create some more space for her. So we wanted to get the torque up. And funny enough, she actually tested out typically to be a launcher, so it's funny that we've started to see like no vertical force being used. So what we did is, like, I started to give her some drills, and right away within a couple swings, ground force just completely changed. And what we'll start to see is, like, and the real goal was to, like, see if we created more ground force, could she create some more speed to help with her sequencing, to help stabilize her lower body. So we had her take the club more up and keeping her right elbow more in front of her, so that actually helped neutralize her wrist mechanics. And then what we said was, okay, try to feel like you are stuffing your toes into your toe box. Right? And what's interesting, and we'll do a little side by side, but we start to see her torque jump through the roof at 169 or 71 pounds. And her vertical jumped up to 192%. Now, when I start to do a side-by-side comparison between the two swings, where her first swing is here, second swing is there, and we're going to synchronize impact. So we can start to see just the differences in her torque, where she literally doubled her amount of rotational force. And then she also increased her vertical by 60%. Or just under 60%. But if you look at her body at impact and the structure, you can see how much more space she now has due to the movements of her lower body. So her hands can come through with a lot more space. And what that does for her and her actual, like, hitting the golf ball, and let's bring up the launch monitor, she gained 20 yards of carry. Like, 20 yards with a 7-iron is pretty spectacular for any player. Never mind a college golfer. And we look at her club path. Club path dropped down a little bit. She was able to square the face better. And club head speed went up by 6 miles. Now, obviously 6 miles is a lot in golf. So given a college player an extra 6 miles, just by learning how to use her lower body better and getting a little bit of better structure at the top, gives her a huge advantage. So now, just for her, really, it's about learning how to play with that and getting some use to the timing. But funny enough, when she was hitting balls, she actually was hitting the ball significantly straighter because her sequencing was better with that. Right? A lot of this has to do with, like, learning how to use the lead foot. If you think you need some help with your ground force, come on down to the golf lab.